So I get this phone call, and the person says, Derek, Jesse Jackson's coming into Oxford. Would I film it? My response is, would I? Of course. So he turns up, and obviously you do your filming, but you approach working with a project like that with a kind of sense of history, simply because, well, he was somebody who was part of the civil rights movement and so on. But what you see with what people like Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all those guys from the 60s, what you see with what they have achieved in laying the foundations for the world that we have now, you couldn't have imagined that somebody who is black would become the president of America. And to some extent, when you sort of look at the way in which media images of black people have been used to shape the way in which the world perceives people of color, well, we all understand exactly what media is, what it can do, good and bad. So getting back to the whole idea of filming Jesse Jackson, just doing that as a gig was great, simply because, I mean, the whole thing was that, it was an all black camera crew. So I phoned the people. One of the guys that was filming was my brother, and there's another friend of mine who I got involved, Rowan. And the thing is, it was a multicultural event. You had all of these people who turned up from different ethnic backgrounds, who were there to hear somebody speak who, because of his involvement with the civil rights movement, it was their platform that they could come and be involved with to touch history. And as I said before, there's blacks, whites, there were Chinese, there were people from all over the world who came to listen, to Jesse Jackson speak. And this obviously took place in Oxford. It wasn't some big high-profile event where there were a lot of people from different parts of the media. But what I do see with what Network 28 is about is being involved with this whole idea of reshaping the way in which black people are perceived around the world, simply because the technology to do that is actually here. So if you go back 5, 10, 15 years ago, the ability to talk to the planet you couldn't do that. And if you've got people that have got some degree of celebrity status, they can now start using these new mass media systems to do what was impossible in the time that Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X were trying to reshape the way in which people of color were perceived around the world. Because if they had media, then they could shape the image. Now it's completely different, and you've got people from around the globe who buy black music, buy black film, buy black clothes. But the issue is that now we're in a space where if you have the ability to talk to the planet, you're actually reshaping, redefining the very way in which not just yourself, but people of color are being perceived. And that's never been possible before in media history. So Network 28 isn't necessarily a black company. It's owned by a black person, because that's who I am. But Network 28 is a media company that is involved with using all of these new, I'd call them mass media systems, that are about connecting with people from different parts of the world, because that's the nature of the system. And with that, you can do what people like Jesse Jackson have been trying to do for years, but found it impossible, because the means to make the change, the means to make the difference, the means to make the impact simply wasn't under their control. So when Jesse Jackson came to Oxford in November 2007, again, you get the call and it's like, yeah, of course you're going to do the gig. But again, it's not just a gig. There is something else going on. And what I see Network 28 about, that's my brother there. What I see Network 28 doing is giving people who are involved with the creative arts a means by which they can contact the planet using new systems. And that's about it, I guess.